Hello, just sorting out little bits. And I just have one last thing. What was I doing? I was just getting the battery for where have I located it? Located battery over here. Oh. Okay. That should be us good. So, welcome to another live show of the scoping out tools. I've been a little bit quiet of late. Obviously, the people that will be seeing this will have observed it afterwards because I only arranged it last night, so it might be not many people saw the post. So today it's going to be a little bit of cleaning up a plane. Probably I've got a few different ones to choose from. Like say this is a John Hobson one, and John Hobson, which you can see. Oh, just put it there. If I just move the light. John Hobson there. And if I hold it up, it's a bit dark. Let me just what do we have? Yeah, well, I've got a wee torch, and what I'll do is just shine it there. So yeah, can you see? It's saying I Hobson, which actually effectively is the I is a J, and that's off just now. So that will be something that I'll be getting onto. There will be a couple of other things that I might get doing. So like I'll just, since I'm going down the Hobson route, let's I've got this book here, which is the Goodman's British Planes, and it's the fourth in the fourth edition. This is the one with the most images from before. Oh, and see these infill planes, we'll be talking a little bit about that later on, because we'll be talking about a car manufacturer as well that used them. Anyway, what I was flicking to was Hobson. So I'm just flicking through until I get to the H's. This is upside down, so obviously I'll be reading it upside down. H-O, Hood. And it's interesting just seeing how some of the days get how they're actually getting done. So that's, oh, I was just went past it. Hislop, Hobday, Hobson. So we've got John Hobson. So he's a Leeds plane maker, and he actually joined forces with Benton. Now that's Thomas Benton. I believe I actually do have a Benton plane with me. Let me just see. So that's a Hobson. Yes, I think that is a Benton. Yeah, T Benton. So this is a T Benton there. I've already put down the torch without seeing where it is. T Benton. Okay. And we can see, hopefully you can read that there, that it's got T-Benton off at the edge. It might be that way. That you need to read it. Yeah. Oh no, that is that way. Right. Okay. So that's got the Hobson and Benton link. Okay, cool. So you can actually see this one does have an adjustable height fence on it. So it's not by a huge amount, but you can see that there's oh sorry, I'm pointing at the wrong bit. So you can see that there's 4 screws here, and then that looks to be adjustable up and down. I might look at that when I'm cleaning it up. You do have the sharp chamfers here, as you do also with this one here, which again they're marked at about 1791, and 1791, but they did actually saying that it did the partnership was actually dissolved, and the Thomas Benton carried on his own. So let's have a little look at Benton. Now, with so much going on, I've started to realise that I'm going to need to start keeping little records with each of the planes, because I'm starting to get quite a lot of them. And you can see the big box behind me. There's about 30 or 30 there. There's about another 15 up there, and then there's this drawer here. I've got about another 15 as well, so that's about 50 planes already. And so I got these little tags just to actually write the information on, keep them with the actual planes themselves, which might be useful for future, because so that that information doesn't just get lost with me, and people then need to look it up again. So anyway, let's look up Thomas Benton. Now, the more prolific makers typically get longer parts. Oh, actually, I just passed. Sorry, I do get distracted a little bit, but I do actually have a crow as well. Interestingly, these are actual size of it, so you can actually measure it on the actual page and then match it against the what you actually find. So let's just keep going. Oh yeah, I think I do. Sorry, I just passed another interesting one. Buck and Hickman, I've also got one of as well. These are probably the more famous one as well. Who am I looking at? Benton. Okay, so let's just have a little look. The Bewley ones I've actually got in the drawer. I think I've talked about them last time. Back to, so yeah, Thomas Benton. So that's at Woodhouse Bar, Ludgate. So again, Leeds, which obviously makes sense with the partnership, and so we will sort of between John Hobson and Thomas Benton dissolved, and the business would be carried on by Thomas Benton on his own. And so you've got the Benton Leeds, T Benton Leeds, and then just a vague Benton, I believe. No, Benton with Leeds underneath. So this is the one that I've actually got, this T Benton here. They probably are of the earlier parts of it, and if I just measure it, this is the iron for it. This was a little thing, so that's starting at 12. Oh, maybe I should do it that way. So that's 9¼ inch. I think most can be about 9¼ because it was all about how many you could actually fit on a single board. And so obviously when it initially was the 12 or I think 10½, it was less that it could get done. So anyway, let's just check this one, which was that I went in, and that's just over. No, that's bang on an inch and a quarter as well. So this is obviously when they had started to standardise it, and I think most of mine are an inch and a quarter. I do have some smaller ones, but I'm not sure if they are actually UK based. Speaking of which, let's have a little look about what actually prompted the video. So jump in here. I'll just close the Goodman book for a while. It's worth getting if you are interested in doing the planes. And basically, I was up at an antique shop up at the what is it? Bygone Times up in I've just drawn a blank of where it is. I think it's just below Penrith. I think it's between that. I'll double check for it. But I saw a few little infill planes, and this is the first infill plane that I got. There is no marks on it. I think this is possibly completely handmade. We've got a metal grooved into the start, and this is what infill planes are often talked about, that you actually are a combination of the metal and the wood. I only heard about these recently when I saw a lovely example of one showing up. I think it was on Facebook or something like that, and that got me starting to look. And so for this, it looks like it could be for doing the standard edge of boards. So if I just put the floorboard in that, this is the floorboard size that actually fits into the actual infill plate. Now it looks like it's a skewed rabbit or skewed rebate, and I don't know what the wood is, but you can actually see there is the single piece at the bottom, and then there's this extra piece as a handle. They've made two bits of the metal to shield the handle, and then they've also ended the two sheets on either side of the piece of wood. And then a third piece is actually going into the wood from the bottom here. Then you've got like the handle for holding it for the grip as well, so we can actually push it along. We can see it is actually a skewed blade, but this is I'm sure this is handmade, because I can't see anyone actually selling this as a product for this bit. So let's just give it a bit of a tap. Where's my hammer? And I'm just going to tap it on the toe here, or the strike point. Hopefully this doesn't damage my and need a bit more. I should have loosened it up a bit before we started. Yeah, that's it. Start to move back a bit more. There you go. That's a wedge. And this is a piece of metal, and you can see that they've got the 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 heat treatment as well. So I think somebody has actually made this. If anyone knows actually what likely this could have came from, because that hole's maybe a bit distinctive. So that could be quite handy. So that should actually clean up all right. It looks relatively flat on the bottom, and that is actually that is quite sharp as well. It feels sharp. The plane itself, you can now see with the wood out, with the blade out. That's where the blade was coming out there. It's not a perfect straight gap between it. I don't know if that's by design or if it, as I say, it's just done by somebody just making their own. So that goes in, and that then gets popped in there. So I can see the blade is out a little bit. I'm just going to give that a tap back in just so it's secure. I've given it a little bit of a try of shaving it, but I do need to actually sharpen that blade a little bit. So yeah, so this one it was quite a cheap little thing. It was £20, but it just was something a bit unique, something a bit handmade. Somebody had worked on this. Somebody had worked on this, made it a tool of themselves, and it would be a shame if it disappeared. I quite like it when somebody actually makes something on their own steam as well. Now, another one that I got for about 20 was the one for the actual car manufacturer. Now, I'm not sure if you can actually guess who the car manufacturer is. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer just for you to maybe have a little think. So if you have just joined the thank you very much for watching, and I will be showing a couple of other planes. Bygone Times was where I got this one, and again I'll be doing all these measurements, adding a little bit of information, and putting these all on tags for later. So the other plane that I got, which I really like the look of, is this. This. Oh, sorry. Let me just get this back in view again. I need to. If I move this, no, it's the other way. I need to move. Okay. Right. The other thing that I got was this heavier looking infill plane, and again, this one is more manufactured. It's got a blade that belongs to Thomas Wales and Sons. I can see that on the iron here. Yeah, it's written at this point. So again, let's just consult the book on it, and then I'll jump back to having a little look through that plane. And again, these will obviously be later rather than the plain wood, because infill planes typically are a little bit more modern. who was looking up Wales, Waller, Walker, Thomas and Wales. So, yep. So Sheffield. Oh, right. So they were edge tool makers. So it's likely they supplied the blade, and this was made by someone else. I might need to do a bit of an image search to try and find out who it was, or I'll have a look to see if there is anything written elsewhere on it. So if it was them, they started in 1861 and they went all the way up to about the 1900s, edge tool makers, but they don't have Midland Tool Works written on it, which was part of their mark, or do they? Let's just take this out. So I'm just unscrewing this. Warranted steel. I think I've got a little screwdriver just here. Now, just for those that are not familiar with taking the plane off, you don't just slip it out. You twist out and then up, and that protects the blade. Yeah. So that is a different. That is a different mark to the one given here. Sorry, let me just. So that's a different mark that given here, but it is actually Thomas Wales and Son. The blade actually looks in pretty good condition. It's got its original bevel. It doesn't look like it's got a secondary or tertiary bevel. It is well oiled, and it does. It just says warranted steel on the actual plate itself. I'll be giving this a bit of a clean up. So again, I'm just going to put it back on. So put it on and then twist it around, then approach the edge without going over. And that's fine. And then let me just put the wee screwdriver back in. So it could be that that blade came later as well. It's not perfectly matching, but it'll do for now. So let's just pop that there. So what else can we see on this? So the guard, if you have a look at the what I'm trying to think, the grippy bit of the plane, I can't think of what it is, but this one is just angled. You can basically secure it by putting this, turning this brass part. But the wood's in good condition. I can't really see anything on it to denote who it might have been that made it. So, and I would need to check to see if Thomas Wales company actually made these, or if they just supplied the blade for it. So, as I say, the the part itself, so probably about 1860s to the 1900s. And so let's just pop that back in. We're just slotting that in, and you can see as it slots in, that toe, not toe, but that comes out there. And then once in place, I can actually hold it in place there. But very nice. There is some pitting at the side. There is a little bit of pitting at the base itself. I have done a bit of lubrication on it just to make it a little bit better. But that is the second plane that I sort of got. Now, it's not just planes that I actually get as well. There's board games and that. So I do have a board game that I want to show at some point. Probably not in this live view. But oh, sorry, that was £75. Very good price actually. I was quite happy to pay that. I wouldn't normally spend that much on the tool, but the 75, I've seen it go for a bit more of that style of plane. So before, so anyway, let's jump to here. So one of the other bits that I do actually go for is just some little fun stuff, and it's not just tools. For some of them, if the price is right, I just go for it. Like say this little wooden car, which it's a small item, quite fun. I've just noticed that my front bumper has actually came off this. It's probably over there somewhere in the chaos. But I've got this one and also this one, and both were about what, £3, £4. And I was looking at this and sort of starting to break it down into small individual points, and you sort of go, well, looking at it step by step, there isn't actually like there's looking at it step by step, it is something that could be done. And so I might be attempting to make a little car. So maybe I'll do that as a sort of like coming up with the plan. I'll do it as a breakdown of it. But basically, you've got the four wheels, right? Four wheels. The car bumper bit underneath is just a straight flat bit of wood that can easily be done. The curves are probably the parts that are going to probably be the most difficult bits to do. These look plastic actually, but I think I'd try and do as much as I can in wood. So yeah, and even the door here, this is just actually scored out. So it doesn't, it can be done in little steps. And I suppose this is a good example of why you should break things up into small points. So I'm just going to leave the cars here just in case people are interested in looking at it. This is the second one. I'm just trying to see if I can actually see that. Right, I'll look for it later. This is the second one, and again, it's following a similar route, but this time, notice how this is done as a single piece, as opposed to this one being little sections. But even here, the doors are even simpler here, that they are just like sides of wood done as a curve with a little indent here. Probably the most difficult is going to be this curve there for it, but everything else seems doable. So again, might be a little project that I'm going to try and attempt to actually do. I do actually have a couple of another thing that I'll do. Again, if the price is right, I'll get it. And there's one where it's just little pictures on plywood on the little pictures of plywood on the actual pictures of cars on a little bit of plywood, right? So before we actually get, and maybe I'll do if you want to work to a timestamp, if you're interested in what car manufacturer made the plane, I'll say 40 at 40. I'll try and get it as close to as 40 as possible. So for those that are not watching the individual bits, you can skip ahead 10 minutes. Okay, so let's pull out these other ones. So again, I'm just walking around Berkhamsted tools, and I came across these. I think these are for probably window framing. They are scrapers, and obviously I've seen it for a paint or removal tool. So, but they were about £3 each, I think. But they're just nice little angled bits. And what you can see is the metal goes actually right through. It's got a washer hammered there to actually hold it in place. So that's held there. I'm gonna clean up the handles a little bit, but not majorly. They're not obviously probably of any great age, but they're nice to have, and I don't actually have that many scraping tools. So again, nice triangular chisel. Again, not really polished that much. So again, it would be bulk removal of stuff as well. Small file, and that's obviously going to be used for, as you see, it's triangle. It's used for the sharpening the saws, and I do actually have a little bit of repurposing. I'm going to be using a wine cork, sticking that on the end. Let's just, hopefully I don't actually stab my hand actually. Let's just put it on the ground. Okay, and that'll maybe help to actually keep it straight as well. But yeah, but that was about £3 for that. It's got the nice curves, angled edge. I probably will actually, when I'm writing all this up with and putting it all the information on the different tags, I'll be checking all the information on little tags. I'll include this information here. I don't know who the manufacturer of these are. There's no marks on them. They're probably like a cheapish tool anyway. And so yeah, so I'll just pop these to the side just now. Now you might see from some of my other videos I've got stuff from people's like family that are getting rid of tools. I've also got a load of stuff from my grandfather, and I was actually just up up in the loft where he's got a bench up there, and there was it's sat there for about I think he's been gone now 35 years, and it's been all the tools have actually been sitting up there. And so one of these, I sort of saw it and I went, "Oh, I didn't realize that he was actually in prison." So this was him doing things on the cheap. I think this was more for a feeler, just simple bit of plywood with the blade in the middle. This isn't sharp though, so I think it is just as a little feeler tool as well. So yeah, so that was a little bit of a fun one as well. Okay, so I will be actually. I said I'd probably wait till 40 minutes past to actually talk about the main plane that I got that was from the car manufacturer. And I might actually just go for it now because what stuff is within reach. This is the one closest to it. So here it is. So let me just move the cars away. And this is another plane here. And it's this again was only about £20. And it's one of the ones that is actually from France. And most of the stuff that I've got is actually British. I've not been collecting for long. I suppose it's now officially I am collecting, because I've got, like, say, as I said, I've got a box of Molden Planes here, a drawer of Molden Planes here, a shelf of Molden Planes there, all waiting to get cleaned up. So this one here, at first I thought it was another do-it-yourself job, and it might still be. Oh no, I did actually check this up, and it wasn't. So, but if we just pop this out, I already loosened it. We can actually see that is being put together with a little bit more um, thought about it getting sold to other people. That, truth be told, um, so the finished quality of it is a lot better. Now, if I just take this back out here, we can actually see the how it's sort of almost like a dovetail shape. It's a really nice shape, actually. It's it's got these little border marks too. At first I thought it was made from different bits of wood, but the grains do actually match up. The side handle is got the metal holding part. So the metal's screwed in to the actual wood bit itself, and it is incredibly light. So I don't know if the French wood that they choose is of a lighter quality, because if I compare it against even this is like a heavy piece of wood here. I don't know if I've got actually the name of who did this one. I don't think so. Um, oh no, yeah, this was a Spear and Jackson, so it's not it's not an old piece or anything like that, but it's it's one of my go-to mallets that I got at a antique place. But yeah, if I just take a plane like this one, who's this? Right, so this one is actually Groves. Now, again, I would be expecting this to be an older one, but if I'm lifting this and lifting that, this weighs more than this, definitely. Um, so so again, I don't know who made that material. Now, again, I've still got a double check on this maker's mark, because it's not a very well defined imprint. But that's a story for another day. So yeah, it's in very good condition though. Flat plane at the bottom. It's if this does get damaged, I can always replace it. They've actually put the is it the frog mouth? The frog mouth, the throat at the different position, so you can actually add it there. But it's all flat at the bottom, so that's all very good. So if I just pop this out. Now, this design is really interesting, actually. I have, this is my chip breaker, and it's got a screw for moving it up and down. Now, what happens there is if I've got the actual blade itself, because it's got a little nook on it, then it means that when this gets put in, let's see if I can actually put it back in. No, I've put it on the wrong side, but the same bit here, I can actually drive the blade back and forward based on the chip breaker itself. Oh, sorry. So um, you can see as I untighten this and retighten it, the blade is actually going back and forward to it. So let's just again come out a little bit. So just give it a little bit there. That opens up and that comes out there. Now I've got a 46 and a 46. I'm wondering if these have actually been chosen to actually match. So again, let me just move this in place. Yeah, so rather than having that twist approach, you can now bring that forward and back, depending on maybe on the wood that you're actually making itself. Right. So, who was it that was actually the manufacturer? And if you actually look at the top symbol, is it easier to see on this? Maybe it's better to see on this. It might give you an idea of who it might be. So, so that's the symbol just here. And it is actually Peugeot Frère, in my best French accent, or Peugeot Frère. So that is, it started off, I hadn't realised that Peugeot started off as blade manufacturing and tool manufacturing before they branched out into cars and investment and sort of like. So it was the Peugeot brothers that first started it, and then the A guarantee I think is similar to what we say as warranted steel. But as I say, this is my first. This is my first French playing European one. I think I do actually have in that box behind me a German one, but it just says made in Germany, I think. Which I don't know why they would say made in Germany if it was actually made in Germany, unless it was picked up, but it was aimed at the British market, hence why it was in English. So let's just pop that back in together. So, need to up and down. Yeah, chip breaker's right at the edge. The iron itself, I think it does have. No, I don't think it has a secondary bevel. I thought it did, but maybe that's just what was exposed. There could possibly be a crack at the bottom, but the blade does need resharpened at the end because it's got a jagged tooth look to it. Right, so that's just gonna get popped back in. And then the wood plane on it. Okay, and so let's just see how well that comes out. No, so that's not moving the blade, that's just moving the chip breaker itself. Is that right? Yeah, yeah, that's just moving the chip breaker itself. So it allows you to adjust the chip breaker for that. Don't necessarily know why you'd want to do that over doing it elsewhere, but let's just go for that. But yep, French Peugeot car manufacturer made a plane. Well, that's a good one. Plane, and they'll people be thinking transport plane. So, right. So I might be drawing this to a close. It's 45 minutes in. I'd like to wrap it up by the end of the hour. But yeah, this is that. That's my some of the planes. As I say, I've got a whole host of them. Like, say, if I just take out this one at random, and hence it's not random because it is the same guys as before. But let's take this one out. Oh, so okay, so this one doesn't actually have any name on it. It's Yeah, there's no imprint whatsoever, but with the chamfer, it is an early one. There's a little bit of damage here, but see how that's a very straight chamfer. I probably will default to a few experts on that because there is things for the size. Let's just check to see what the length is. So again, that's there. And so this is actually a longer one. Let me just do this properly. So this is 9.5. So just a tiny amount longer than the ones we were actually looking at. But that can often give an age thing of it. So you see how it's just a 1/4 inch longer there. It's so small, it can look like it's almost like a bit of the shadow. If you see it there, how it's sticking out. Here, there, it's there. Now, if you compare the two chamfers there, just let me just give the light again, about how this is a lot wider and for a bit longer, this is a lot narrower. I'll probably be checking these angles as well. But yeah, so that is quite an interesting one for me to actually look at. Now, my uncle used to work for an engineering company, and so some of the tools I did bring back were for a metal lathe. I don't have a metal lathe, but it is something that I might get at some point, and these are just different cutting blades. It's saying it's something in company Sheffield Major Super Weld. It's got I don't know anything about how these cutters work. Yeah, it's just a stag. I think we're just cutting off who the manufacturer is on it. But again, I need to actually have a bit of a play. I've got a whole host of these metal things that I can actually have a look and play about with. So yeah, so something for me to work with, I think. It might never get a metal lathe, but it would have been getting thrown out otherwise, and I don't like anything getting thrown out. Interestingly, sold by Boots, the chemist. So old tin, Brompton Hospital lozenges tin. Obviously, we get a whole host of different things. If you saw my latest video on doing the blind rivets, you saw that I had Ringers rolling tobacco, and I think it's uh, for hand rolling. See, it is nothing there, but Ipswich company Churchman's was the manufacturer. I don't know if that's of the tin or of actually of the um, bit itself. And then another tool, nice little wooden box here as well. If I pull that out, it's Brown and Sharp Company, manufacturing company in Providence in the USA. And again, it is just a nice little angle tool that you can then very accurately add in certain degrees. I don't know if this looks like this can move as well. I'll need to actually have play with it. Yeah, there. So I can actually set it to an angle, draw a line to it, and then there's the two 45-degree angles as well. So again, a nice little tool that I've picked up. Just get it positioned so that it can go back into its sleeping position. Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm gonna call it that a day. And I'll try and be a bit better at advertising this a little bit more, um, and just see. And also, I need to actually choose what time is most suitable. Obviously, I've got a weekend afternoon is a bit easier for me, especially be out in the garage. Maybe it'll change during the summer when it's a bit warmer in the garage itself. Um, but by the time I get back from work, um, make the dinner, uh, clear up, and that it's like uh, gone 7:30, 8 o'clock, and that's a bit late for me to start something like this. But you never know, I might get a second win, or I might be not working during the day. Anyway, thanks very much for watching Scoping Out Tools, and yeah, so the car manufacturer that also made planes, Peugeot. Spoiler alert, or if you want to hear a bit more about it, jump back to about 35 minutes in the actual video. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.